People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, I hope you're all enjoying your day. Quick vid because I've literally only got 3 minutes. But we might as well go over some things that are in relation to Arsenal. In relation to Arteta and Nketiah's future, Eddie Nketiah's future, our 20-year-old who only got 2 league starts at Leeds on loan, he said, I sat down with him and was very impressed with him. I think it was a great challenge for him to work in that environment in Leeds. I think he's become a much better player, a much more competitive player. Then the decision to make now is whether it's better to send him out for another 5 months to realise his potential and have him ready for next season, or keep him here is something we have to discuss in the next few days. Admittedly, people, I do believe he was gone for this season. We had him not being involved for the season in mind, so he should go and play senior football elsewhere. But I am starting to believe we should keep him for the squad purposes. Now, it's purely selfish. It's not for Eddie. For Eddie should go on loan or go where he can play football. He should believe he could, train under Arteta. Maybe staying under Arteta's eye might be in his favour. But minutes are currency. You've seen Tyrese, John Jules go out on loan, and it's all the strikers are more or less competing against each other. You need to go and get some experience as well, because bagging all them goals in the second division for our 23s doesn't mean a whole much. Because right now, again, he's still young and stuff, but as harsh as we look at it, minutes are currency. Eddie has not shown that he can get 10 or 20 league goals minimum to even speak about that he can replace Aubameyang and Lacazette. Do you get it? So on one hand, he should go and do that. On the other hand, I am starting to more want to keep him, because I look at Aubameyang and Lacazette. If something happens to them, who takes over up front? I know we've got Martinelli, and again, Eddie would really have to hold up the bench and stuff and get brought off the bench and rotated in. But he really would struggle to play if it was me. But I am warming towards keeping him, people. I'm not going to lie, for the season. So that will be a tough one. Apparently, Mikel Arteta talked Granit Xhaka out of leaving Arsenal by promising the midfielder that he would enjoy his football again under his management, and vowed to push the club to be supportive of their former captain. I wanted him to hear from me my opinion on him, and that I was ready to support him, and that I was ready to push the club to be supportive of him too, because I thought he could be a really good player for us, and he could enjoy this football club playing under me. I tried to convince him that way. He thought about it. He had a very positive response afterwards, and I think he changed his mind. Now, for me, I think Xhaka is still open to leaving. I feel Xhaka, it's not the club. Xhaka's always, whatever you think about Xhaka's always wanted to play for this club. He's always handled himself in a certain sort of way. I do think under Emre, like you've seen with reports coming out of The Athletic, like all the players, potentially cold feet and having question marks in relation to the future. I remember his comments before, in a couple months, or in August or something, about taking the next step when he was linked with Champions League clubs. But I think the bulk of it is obviously because of the fans. Something needed to give. He needed to get away from the toxic environment of our fans, rightly or wrongly. He's got a young family to think about, and just really focus on football. And it's nice to see, regardless of what you think about Xhaka or Arteta, it's nice to see that he was able to convince him with his ideas, buy into his ideology, and then he's really got a lieutenant, a fighter in there, because Xhaka has got fight, he has got grit, he does divide opinion, but he is a fighter, and I'm happy to see Xhaka enjoying his football again. I'm actually happy to see water under the bridge between the fans and Granit Xhaka. I do think Xhaka, I think his form is clouding the ability of the player a bit, with Socrates and Luis could be added to that, but I definitely think Xhaka's got something to add in some capacity. It's nice to hear, regardless, we still want a box-to-box midfielder, regardless of Xhaka's future. How feasible it is, I'm not too sure. Again, reports out of Barcelona are still linking Upamecano to Barcelona, with us being interested and more or less just playing second fiddle, essentially, people. So it doesn't appear that we have any real hope. In relation to Aubameyang's future, people, Arteta said, he knows exactly what I think about him, and obviously he's a massive player for us. But at the moment, we're in the middle of the season, and we haven't discussed anything further than that. My intention is to keep Aubameyang, obviously, because I know that if we keep Aubameyang with us, we're going to be stronger and closer to winning football matches. So he's more or less said I'd want to keep him, and he's more or less evaded questions on the contract situation, and rightly so. I mean, there's nothing Arteta, unless it's Aubameyang has signed a new deal, talks are closer. There's not much Arteta can say to shed any light on the situation, and there's not much he cannot do to avoid going over the same things, the same headlines being written. It is what it is. Lovely to hear Arteta speaking highly of Aubameyang. Lovely to hear Aubameyang waxing lyrical about Arsenal and wanting to help us return to the things. But rightly so, Aubameyang is playing all cards on the table. His contract is not signed, his new extension. The longer that goes on, the weaker negotiation power we have, and the more aces, if he didn't already, Aubameyang has. No one is bigger than the club. I'm not saying Aubameyang is bigger than Arsenal, but we need him more than he needs us. Do you get it? It is that. If we lose Aubameyang, we need to replace them goals. Aubameyang can go somewhere. We can't replace that really and truly without going with the big boys and whatnot. And things like that. Apparently, we've again been linked with Moussa Dembele, but Sam Dean, a journalist, has said that's not an option because it would take a massive salary, people. As you lot already know, Galatasaray via Intermedies has been offered Mustafi on loan. Mustafi has got new coaching staff, representatives. Apparently, according to The Athletic, Arsenal had the chance to sell Reiss Nelson for 20 million last season, with Crystal Palace and Bournemouth interested. But Emre decided against it, and Iwobi was sold instead. So that's the one thing positive Emre actually did, people, for us in keeping Nelson. I believe in Nelson. A lot of you will disagree and say he should have just kept it moving. Currently, Emile Smith-Rowe is set for a medical at Huddersfield Town ahead of his loan spell. In relation to Thomas Lemar, Arsenal was never an option for him. Only Chelsea and Spurs have interest in him from the Premier League. Chelsea have made an offer, allegedly, people. And apparently Mustafi and Emile Smith-Rowe were absent from training yesterday, which would further field speculation that for both of them, at least a temporary basis for Emile Smith-Rowe, an exit appears likely. And it's also important to remember that Eddie Nketiah trained with the first team yesterday. Mavropanos is likely to leave on loan this month as well. Hopefully he can get some first team football, because he is dying for first team football, people. He needs to go and get that. He's been starved of it, and he won't be able to improve until he gets such significantly. But on that note, there's nothing more for me to add, so I'm going to keep it pushing. As usual, your support means the world. Thank you for such, people. DG.